right, y'all. So we are here today, and I just kind of, this is not a podcast. We're not trying to sell nobody shit. At the end of this, we're not going to say $9.95, join our class.
Oh.
None of that. It's literally, I wanted to foster some conversation with real people who kind of navigated through this industry successfully. Because there's so many podcasts and so much stuff going on out there that is so much misinformation that people need to know what the real stuff. And this is a brave space for creators to come and learn and get this information. So if you guys have questions or anything, put them in the comments. I'll try to pay attention and pick them out. I know some people emailed me some questions beforehand. This is no formal anything. We have some questions from people who hit me up, and we're just gonna answer them. I guess we want to start with introductions, and I'll go first. So I'm Portia Mazone. I'm the creative director at Econtii Music Group, which is an entertainment consulting firm headquartered in Atlanta, but we're also based out of Houston, Minneapolis, and LA. And I wear many different hats. I've been a music supervisor. I am in the legal background, and also, I've been a business manager for several people over the last 15 years, 20 years of my life. Erica?
Well, I'm Erica, the plug. I have been in the business since 2008. I got started very early. For my very first job in the industry was at Capitol Records. I was in the marketing department. Merchandising and touring was my focus. So all of the artists on staff, the urban artists that we had, I was responsible for booking them through from January to December, all on the southeastern region, from Virginia all the way down to Florida, North Carolinas, and doing college tours, merchandising, meet and greets, taking them to the radio station, walk through clubs, the whole nine. That's before the industry went digital. So I have one foot in, one foot out, the old school way of doing things and the new school way of doing things. So fast forward, after the industry shifted, I pretty much was doing free PR for a lot of the entertainers, professional athletes, reality TV people. It's always been a passion of mine, so I kind of circled right back to me deciding to manage my own artists. For so long, I've been working for corporations or companies and have a say-so in the talent selection. So I decided to just become a manager in 2012, 13, around that time. One of my first producers that I managed was 217. Mr. 217. He's gone platinum, triple platinum at this point. We really kind of launched his campaign from ground zero all the way to where he is now. Then I took on some independent artists, female rappers, singers, the whole nine, and then I kind of backed away from the industry. I think we all have a love-hate relationship with the industry. If we're those that's really in it, we understand. Like, for myself, I have a passion for the education and the business of the industry, but I don't necessarily agree with the strategy and tactics of the music business. So I went a little quick hiatus, but it keeps pulling me back in. So as of 3 years ago, I launched my own recording label, 87 Records. Things is just going crazy. We taking off. I have about 7 artists right now. I have 5 producers, 3 songwriters, 2 engineers, and we're also on collaboration in the publishing side of the music business. Of course, I have artists that are just artists, but that's what we're doing right now, 87 Records.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Bree. Let them know who you are.
Just me, reality Bashir. That's all. Nothing special. Nah, peace and blessings, people. How you doing, Erica?
Hey.
Peace Miss Portia. So quick background. I've been in this business about, man, if I tell you how long, it's going to date me. But about 30 years. Started off as a recording artist as a teenager. Back then, I worked with some of the household names now, like some of the biggest artists in the world now were just trying to get in the game when I was coming up. So I came up with the likes of Usher, Ludacris, Akon, kind of list goes on and on. So about 10 years of being a recording artist, I transferred into independent A&R and managing all type of talent. First, I started off actually developing artists and being a consultant for EMI Publishing for their A&R department. Then I had a couple of A&R jobs here and there, but mainly stuck as an independent A&R, developing artists, helping other companies develop their artists, bringing in writers, producers, creating songs. And then I started managing talent from all walks of life. I guess reality celebrities I've had on my roster. I've worked with Stevie J, Jocelyn, Mimi Foss, Caesar from Black Ink, ... As far as music producers, my first, I think, producer I managed was my partner and friend Nick Fury, who was a platinum producer. He goes back to what's that? Game for Little Flip. What was the name of that song? It's on the tip of my tongue. But you know what I'm talking about. It's like biggest record, Little Flip's that Game record. So that was like Fury's big start at the time. So since then, he and I actually co-managed Bobby Brown Jr. Before his timely demise. And since then, I've had other platinum producers. Right now, I have El Timo. We have Econtii and I. Well, Portia and I. We have Mr. Billboard Baby, a.k.a. Bugsy Malone. Then we have, I have, let me see, B. Sims, who we've been together probably like 8 years. So we're more like have a partnership than just a management situation. And a lot of times, we'll probably get into this conversation later, a lot of these things start off as a manager-client situation. Then you can kind of grow into a partnership where now you're a managing partner of the situation, right? Which is kind of like what I like to get into because it really defines the roles of each party. And sometimes as a manager, you're doing more than what the job entails. So just out of pure belief in your client and what they're doing. So I kind of have strategic partnerships with people that started off as clients. And then we transitioned into the TV and film space where I have strategic partnerships where I'm a managing partner for script writers, for TV production companies, and even El Timo and I and Tez McClain and a couple of others have a company called Content Garden. We have a show called Who Made the Beat where we feature producers and with notable producers that did notable records and the story behind their life. So, there's a lot of different slashes in my background, but it all is entertainment based and it's all, to try to better somebody else's dream and vision, where I kind of come in and aid and assist at that rather than the vision is mine and then I'm dictating everything. It's more of a collaborative effort with everybody that I work with. Hey, what up, bro?
Good.
Hey,
technical difficulties, my bad.
We always need that one person to solve.
Oh, shout out Jay Barkley. That's another brother that I worked with a long time too. Who's done platinum records as well.
You when you Sims, he had that song back in the day, Roper Dope, didn't he?
Roper Dope.
It was like when he first came.
Probably sound. I gotta go back. We have so many records, it's crazy.
Dang, we just doing introductions, so introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, my bad. Name is Damian Davenport. Some people know me as Dame Dizzle. I got into music dealing with a blog site years ago called PreciseEars.com. Then we started finding artists through it, and that's what we started managing. That's how I met Reality a couple years ago. One of the artists we were working with back in the past. And after that, teamed up with DJ Iceberg for 1079, and I started working with his career for the past couple of years. Then I created like the first DJ platform under him, so we kind of global with his platform for the past 5 to 6 years. Then, shit, I focus more on the independent scene most of the time, so I'm kind of with everyone from Atlanta to LA, working with up and coming artists. Work with this one artist, we just left Def Jam, her name's Saint Bodie. Other artists named Rob Williams, Casey. Then I just joined this management team called Moon Music, and we got artists like Abby Jasmine from New York. Artist named what's his name? He's based in Atlanta. His name Juicy in Atlanta, and right now working on Iceberg first project, being a producer right now. So that's how I got in the game, mostly media and management, but media first, kind of.
Nice. So I Googled what an entertainment manager was, and Google has us fucked up because none of that shit sounded right. So I had to like dig deeper. And so I found the definition of a talent manager, which is an individual who guides the professional career of artists in the entertainment industry. The responsibility of the talent manager is to oversee the day-to-day business affairs of an artist, advise and counsel talent concerning professional matters, long-term plans, and personal decisions which may affect their career. So how would you, I mean, you guys kind of already told me about, you know, how really like, how would you define a manager? And I know like people don't understand there's so many different types of managers. Like me, like I define myself as a business manager. Like I'm not going on tour. I know Erica goes on tour, Reality, y'all all be flying here. Reality sleeps in the studio. Like I don't do that. I do contracts. I do legal stuff. Business managers are typically your CPAs, which is certified public accountants. Either tour managers, there's general managers. So like, how do you guys define what a manager?
Your phone breaking up.
Oh.
You know,
Did you hear
repeat
that,
the last
or I gotta repeat
section.
that?
Really, the question.
How do you define a business manager? Or I mean, not a business manager, your what you do. Because I just define myself as a business manager, right? So we do like the legal, like usually a business manager will be a lawyer or CPA, which is a certified public accountant. And you guys are kind of, you know, I know Dame has been tour manager, Reed, you guys are more kind of like a general manager that flies here and there, goes to the studio. So how do you define yourself as
Who wants to take that? Well, I'll say first, for myself, when I first got into managing, it was because of the lack of management that I had as an artist, right? And so certain things that I thought should have been done or certain opportunities that should have been presented through my management is kind of how I got into that phase. I was probably actively the manager of my group at the time when we were recording. But how I define my role basically is kind of some of the things that you said, advising, guiding my clients, but also creating new opportunities. Because some contracts, if you look at the old contracts, most of them said that a manager wasn't responsible for creating opportunities. Like they basically here to manage what you already have going on, keep stuff in order and in detail. But over the years, it turned into an investor. It turned into so many other things. You know what I'm saying? You might be a business manager, but you find yourself going on the road. You find yourself in the studio because the situation entails that you do a little more. Because maybe you don't have the whole team set up where you have a business manager, you have a general manager, you have a road manager. You know, some people might have 3 and 4 managers based on where they are in their career. You know what I'm saying? But as far as me, it all determines on what the client is will determine on what my role is, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of the best way for me to put it.
On my end, being a manager, I just had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, just watching other people manage and dealing with artists. And my role is kind of almost like reality kind of put on it. When managed, like later on in life, management came like kind of like more of a broad word, and you kind of almost do everything. Like you like the quarterback on the football team, like you have to do everything. Sometimes it's shit that you don't want to do, and you just gotta do it just to make sure the client get through it. And like me being like my first time being in a business management company, now I can just focus on one role. But when you kind of like the main manager, you kind of just do everything just to make sure the job get done. And you're a counselor sometimes. like you're not
Might be transportation.
Well,
got in life now, and you become like a whole other like job that they don't really tell you that part of management. It's just like really also how much you really like the client or the act. Because if you don't like the client to act, it's really kind of hard to do your job just to do for that whatever percentage you get. It's like you really gotta fuck with the person outside just their talent.
And just before you jump in, Eric, I just want to say one thing. What you said, Dame, is, and this is what I always tell my clients: if I'm working harder than you working for yourself, then it's never going to work. Like we're supposed to be in partnership as far as getting your career to the next level. But if I'm out here busting my ass, creating opportunities for you, and then you don't show up, you don't deliver, or we need some records done for such and such by next week. Next week comes and you don't even have one record. You know what I'm saying? That falls on me because I'm the face putting you out there. But then if you don't deliver, they're going to be like, you don't deliver. You know what I'm saying? Which falls back on the manager. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot work harder than your client. It has to be in conjunction. But anyway, go ahead, Eric. I apologize. Let Eric say, I'm sorry. You're the moderator.
No.
Go ahead.
Also,
Go
take
ahead.
time. All three of us don't have to answer every single question because I think they hit it with those two. I'm pretty much gonna say the same thing. The only thing I would add is I just don't manage anymore. I run the label, so I work with managers now. But when I was managing, and I just have one off, I do have a situation where I'm managing a particular person. But everything they said on the head, you have to build a relationship. It's like you can either handle each artist requires different levels, right? Either you're going to marry them as a family member. I just not take on the financial responsibilities anymore of what they think a manager should be, because that's not what a manager should do. A manager should usher you to the bag or usher you to invest sponsors. That's what you're looking for. But what I would just want to tell all artists, come with your own stuff together. It's so dominant right now. Everybody want to be an artist. So why should I manage you? It's like, what are you bringing to the table as an artist other than talent? Everybody's talented, but what else do you have? What type of work ethic do you have? If I see you going hard, it's going to make me jump on board and become a part of your progress because you have movement. Shout out to KD Money. He's on this thing now. But that movement, it's easy for somebody to say, you know what, I will, because it's a partnership at that point. You're doing the work as the artist. I'm just helping you further your relationships.
Right. Oh my God, I was trying to point out, I had my good friend Ray Daniels, who also manages a whole bunch of people. He made a statement that said you have to love your client like they're your own child. And like, you guys agree with that?
I call my artists my kids. I ain't gonna lie.
There's truth to that, you know. I can see where he would say that. But at the same time,
yeah.
a manager isn't a babysitter either, right? So
that's
babysitting people. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like to deal with people that have a certain knowledge of this business. Of course, I'm here to help teach and elevate what you know, but if you just come in green and don't know anything, it might be a longer trajectory that we have to go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like to babysit people. know what you want, and let me help you get to, to the end goal.
So what is the biggest misconception around being a manager?
We always stealing. We trying to find some way to get over. Or
and let's point out that we get paid the last. Everybody gets paid. We don't get paid until the very last person to get paid. And I think the biggest misconception for me is that we like we're the investor. Like, I'm supposed to put money into your career. Now, me personally, I have put my own money. I know a lot. I mean, I talk to you guys every day. Like, so all of us have put money into our artists and stuff. But as we matured and got older, like, that is not our role. I feel like if I give money to my clients because I believe in him or her in their dream, but it's not my obligation to put any money into you. Like you said, we're managing what you already have.
And that, like, the funny thing is, when I first got into the game, I didn't even have this clause in my contracts. I would just do certain things because I wanted to see the artist win, right? And then I started losing money. The artist wasn't fulfilling the obligation, so now I'm out of the money. And the artists, they're looking at it like, well, this was an investment. This is something you know what I'm saying? But now we have clauses in my contract that says if I pay for something, you have 30, 45 days to pay me back. Now, it might be negotiable about you paying me back, but it's in there now. So one, you never thinking I'm just the bank for whatever the situation, you know what I'm saying, is needed for. So I think that's important. Just defining the financial roles between you and your client is very, very important.
Yeah, my career losses, I'm over that. That money is out. I'm never doing that again. I had to run that clause where reality telling me, said, I start putting that in my contract that you're gonna have to pay me this back. This ain't free money. This ain't free money that I can just splurge like shit. I'm giving you money going away from other things I could have been doing. Like, I shouldn't want your goal more than you should want it. So it's like, and you making the most. I'm like, I got to spend the money and you're going to make the most at the same time. Like, this is not proper math right here. So it's like, yeah, I learned at a young age. And that's out the picture right now.
Right. And then I think that's like a current theme that's been, a recurring theme is we shouldn't be working harder than you. Like, this is your dream at the end of the day, And so, how did you guys get into the entertainment game? Like, how did you break in? Like, when people come to me and ask me, they're like, well, how did you get started from day one? Like, if they want to be in this industry.
How did we get started? Or how does an artist get started?
How did we get started? So, like, for me, I grew up around it. I have 3 uncles that played in the NFL. My other uncle played in Prince's band. My other uncle who actually raised me was Muhammad Ali's business manager. And, like, I kind of, like, my whole company is named after him. And, seeing how he did things. He owned a distribution company or whatnot. I had a cousin that worked at Def Jam. So, like, it was kind of like family. I knew family. I was around it. I grew up around it all the time. But I didn't really start breaking. Because although you grow up around some shit, it's 10 times harder to get in because your family's just like, they're not just handing you anything, And so when I went to FAMU, I started working with TJ Chapman and doing TJ DJs and the record pool stuff or whatnot, and doing like the BET stuff, and like kind of like had to hit the ground running and put myself in certain situations to cultivate relationships to where I'm at today.
Contrary.
I know your dad has similar because you grew up around it too.
I grew up around. I actually didn't grow up around my dad. So, my story was a lot different. Of course, we are all lovers of hip hop. So we grew up around hip hop. I knew at an age wanted to be in music. I'm from a small town, small people. So I was always told, get your head out of the clouds, get a realistic job. Why don't you want to be a teacher, a doctor, lawyer, something like that? But I just always knew the industry that I wanted to be in because I was infatuated with assisting artists. So when I turned 17 and I jumped off the porch ready to go leave my mama's house, I actually had to lie about my age to start working at the record label because I really had a contact that I was interning with that turned me on to an executive at Capitol Records, but you had to be over 18 and I wasn't. So I told him I wasn't in college. I was in school. I was in college. I told them I wasn't in school. I lied about my age. I got the job, so I had to work extra. I had to be available whenever they needed me. So I'm also a full-time college student, but I set all my classes up on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that I can be in New York Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, come back to school Tuesday. It was crazy, but I made it work. And then one moment that I really realized, like, to me, I made it. I mean, I made it to certain levels, but at that I was, through my work ethic, I was pulled to work with Raekwon Tour when he created Ice Water and signed Capone and Noriega. I grew up on Capone and Noriega. So for me to be able to work that project, it was fulfilling to me. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm in it. This is what I'm doing. And I just kept going.
Well, back, like I said, I started off as an artist, and when I saw, well, I was in a group, things weren't kind of panning out right, and, you know, we were getting older. We had to put out some singles and all of that, but I decided, like I said, to utilize my resources, because this game is about relationships, right? So over the 10 plus years of me being a recording artist, I garnered all these relationships with label execs, with, you know, producers and writers and other artists or whatever. So when it came time for me to shift gears, I already had 10 plus years of relationships. So now it was about me finding talent that I felt worthy enough to turn onto my relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's about. And I always tell people, you know, the phrase is not who you know, what you know, but I've learned to realize it's who you know and what they want to do for you and what you can do for them. Like this phone right here I probably have phone numbers in here of some people that people can never even get to. People would dream to get to. But it's always about what you have of value that you could bring to somebody and they see the value in it, and, you know, vice versa. So that's just, you know, one of my rules of thumb. But how I got in it, like I said, as an artist and transitioning, my first real, I guess, management client outside of the group that I was managing and developing, it's probably the first time I ever said this in public, but it was Cat Stacks. Like when she was at the height of her career, if you want to call it that, when she was the social media queen, when everybody
Yep.
Who froze? I froze?
Yeah, Reed, you froze.
Well, yeah, I'm here. So she was like the first client of mine that, you know, I was actually on the road with, actually getting the ins and outs of what it meant to be a road manager, you know, I guess on a hands manager, and she was a hell of a client. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot. Good and bad.
Yeah, so Dame, how'd you break in?
Honestly, I never thought I would get back in music because I was managing kids when I was in high school. We was just all, me and my homeboys were rappers, and I was the manager. Then I left. Then like a few years later, my homeboy came up with this idea for a website, and that shit popped out within a year in Atlanta. And that same year, yeah, that's when I met Reality. We were working with this one artist. And after us watching them, and like because our website, we meet so many artists in different places, we like, shit, we probably can do this shit too. And we just started managing different talents, different artists year by year. Then I think when I linked up with Iceberg, me and him partnered up, I think that's when I kind of made it. Because like after a year or two of that, I was in places that didn't think they actually knew who I was at the moment. Like, I'm in LA, I'm sorry, Warren, bro, they know me. I get in, like, I'm in different places, like, dang, we heard of you. You know what you do. I'm like, damn, I'm on the whole other side of this country, like, other side of the United States. So when I started traveling more, that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, I really doing something. I'm thinking I'm just doing some regular hobby shit, but I didn't realize, like, I tapped in with a lot of people's lives in different places until I started traveling, pulling up on places. So that's when I kind of felt like I made it. Like, then the clients start getting bigger and bigger. So it wasn't just independent artists. Now you start working with artists actually signed to the label already. So it's like, honestly, I still feel like I'm in that moment right now still.
Yeah. Mm. So when you're trying to find an artist or a talent, what do you look for? For me, it is someone who already has a buzz. Like, I've had people inbox me, DM me, say, "Hey, I need a manager. Can you be my manager?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I might look and see what you have, but once I look, I'm looking to see like how many followers you have, how much YouTube views do you have, like what's on your plate, like have you already got on a playlist, like how much work have you put in to kind of balance out how much work I have to put in. You know, you can't, and the majority of my clients that I've had actors, comedians, best-selling authors, like they already have stuff out. You know, I was just there to enhance their career that they already have. And even like the producer I have now, like I just saw he needed some guidance, and he already had a platinum record on the radio, you know? And so it's really, I think people think they need managers right in the beginning, you know, and you really don't. You just need, a manager is part of your team when they actually have something to manage your booking, talent, negotiating, like those things. But at first, you guys just need to hit the ground running and like build your own stuff up. And then that way you have more leverage when you get to trying to get a deal, or if you're an independent artist or whatever, because you already be like, hey, I got A, B, C, D already going on. How can I add value to what you guys, or how can you add value to what I already have? Oh,
Definitely.
We all agree on that shit.
Yeah, most people want you to be the label, the publicist, the manager, and we going back to the financer. I mean, you know, they want you to do all these things at once, and they have nothing.
Right.
But their dreams.
Right. We love those. Keep dreaming, y'all. What advice would you give your younger self, knowing what you know today about the entertainment?
Be less loyal. Be loyal to the mission, not to people, right? Like the mission could be, man, we want to take this record here, but in the midst of that, it's going to be somebody over here doing some fuck shit, you know what I'm saying? And those, to me, it's like being loyal to the mission and not being, you know, loyal to people that you see is going another direction, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want the best for people, and you think you're going to get the best out of people, and you know, people will let you down. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, don't go in this with emotions. Come at it from a business perspective. You know what I'm saying? But see, a lot of times what happens, you create history with your client. Like for instance, me and B Sims, we've been working together 8 years. He's not a client anymore. That's family. You know what I'm saying? So we have, you know, we've had some disagreements about certain business, you know, which way to go, which contract to take, blah, blah, blah. But those 8 years have also given us time to know each other, to know that we both want what's best for the goal, like I said. And so I think just taking emotions out of it a lot of times and looking at everything from a business perspective is probably one of the top things you got to do. Sometimes emotions will make you make the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying?
I would say never want more for your artist than they want it for themselves. Because people fall into that trap of
somebody let Cooper out.
You okay? You
got a monster. No, I'm just playing. No.
Oh, you good?
You have to mute yourself, Dane.
Yeah.
Well, you get the jokes off.
Hmm?
Now y'all good.
Okay. Yeah, no, when you want it more than an artist, the mission becomes yours. And you're stuck on that path by yourself because they're gonna detour or they're gonna backdoor you. They all say that. The ones I always say, be careful for the ones that say, "Oh, I'm loyal. You ain't got to about me." Any of them that say that, I'm with you. I'm, them be the ones. That it always happens that way.
Right.
And I will also say brand yourself. One thing I failed to do my early year, Ozone Max, Julia Beverly, Karen Civil, all of them riding, I kept them and I saw what they did to brand themselves. Me trying to be helpful, wanting to just help everybody. I never got my own logo. I never got a platform. I was just always behind the scenes. I know a lot of people, but that don't mean anything at the end of the day. You got a lot of connections. Unless, of course, I've turned those connections to other things outside of music. But when it comes to managing and even now owning a label, one of the reasons why I transitioned to owning a label versus managing still allows me to work hands on with the artist, but I'm responsible for my brand, my label. I can manage that regardless of who come and go. You can leave tomorrow. I can get another person or another client in. I'll still have my brand. So that's, I would definitely tell myself, I wish I would have started branding my name earlier.
Damn. They said two things I was gonna say anyway. I learned how to take my emotions out the game, cause that kind of messed me up at the beginning. The emotion part, trying to ride for artists and killing relationships, and don't be so anxious, cause you can make the wrong decision being anxious in this game sometimes. Just cause you might got in a room that you thought you never could get in, it's really just act like you've been there before when you never been there before. Like controlling your emotions and um what's another bad thing? I think emotions was the biggest. Cause I don't have no problem making mistakes. But the emotion part, that shit can fuck up relationships for a long time.
Yeah.
And also going back, branding myself. I ain't thinking about branding myself probably till like a year and a half ago. Portia been telling me that forever. Like I never brand myself. I've always focused on other people's brands. Cause that's when I get my creative high and just like when I get an idea, I'm gonna go with it. So it's like I never thought about my brand till like the past like year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm like, they don't know me. Like, let me stop playing around with this shit. Like, let me start branding myself better and better. They just know my clients, but a lot of times they don't be knowing me. So I'm like, let me put myself out here more often. That's why I agreed to do this with Portia because this is part of it.
Not for real.
I was gonna say one thing is like in conjunction with the brand, your reputation precedes you in this business. It's a small business. Me and B said we talk about it all the time. It's really 2, 3, 4,000 people really doing business in this business. You know what I'm saying? There's millions trying to get in, but people that's actually doing something, actually working behind the scenes, artists that are really making money, it's not a whole lot. So having your brand and your reputation is something you got to keep, on a high level. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, people are going to seek you for management. I get calls every day. It's probably some people online asking us. I saw somebody say they need a manager, but a lot of that comes from word of mouth, or people actually seeing you doing work. They're like, well, he did it for her. He did it for him. They could do it for me. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know who's watching too. You know what I mean? So you just always want to be on your business.
People think the manager did it. Most of the times the manager didn't do it. It's the right place at the right time, being managed the right way. But there's like plenty of artists that I know right now that I've helped assist with that have taken themselves to the next level. But again, another artist may look at you like you just said, that manager. Well, you may not have the same results with me that artist has with me.
Right.
So,
right. And probably want to do the things that artist did to put them in position too.
Exactly.
So everything is not a cookie cutter. It's not a one fits all type of scenario.
how y'all feel about family members managing
Let me
people? When you get your Uncle Leroy, because you know they want their family around because they trust, because it's such a dog eat industry that we're in. But when you have someone that's your family member, they don't know shit about the business side of it. It kind of screws you up
I got a
in the
perfect
long run.
solution for that. I'm glad you brought it. Contrary, I am for that because artists, I don't want to butt heads with a manager, an uncle. Y'all been around longer. So what I do, I offer a actual course that teaches anybody how to be better. Like, first of all, you can't teach how to be a manager. You have to have it in you, right? It's a hustle, it's a mindset, it's a mentality. But I do teach the fundamentals of what you need. I have all of the contracts to think of, split the term in industry. First of all, it starts with industry terminology, understanding how to, don't go and speak your way through, just hear your way through first. I'll put you in certain positions, certain rooms. I'd rather you as an artist to get someone to go on the road with you who you're comfortable with, who you know you're going to be loyal to, they're going to be loyal to you. Because when y'all come to us as strangers, we're trying to develop that relationship. You'll never have that, like you said, unless it's 8 years with your client, 9 years. But I don't have time for that for people I'm with. But I would always advise. I didn't used to, but now I would always advise when somebody comes to the table. I ask them, you know, you got a cousin, uncle, or somebody that you trust that can hit the road with you, that can kind of be your right hand. I will train that person up to manage you. It doesn't take much to be a manager. It doesn't really. But I would prefer if an artist actually do that nowadays. How the industry is.
It's an interesting viewpoint.
I'm 50-50.
You know, I come from the legal side, so I'd be scared if you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm 50-50. I've been in this situation before. I'm 50-50 because I'm co-managing with this person on my end, and I'm trying to make sure I'm cool if you don't know all the information, but at least listen. Because I've been in a situation, I had to pick one of my artist uncles out the picture. I'm like, bro, this not gonna work. This not gonna work. But I've been on the other hand that did work before. My thing is that the person gonna listen and play their role.
Now,
Because if not, this ain't gonna work out. Because I'm very vocal and I have less type of BS. And if I realize the uncle is like hindering us back, dealing with decision making and stuff, I'm like, this shit ain't gonna work. I had talks with the artist, like, bro, I fuck with your uncle, make him an assistant or some shit, but he can't make decisions.
well, see, that's
right.
I would never work with the family member and me trying to manage the. I'm just gonna shift him to the family member and be the label.
The crazy part, like one of the hidden pet peeves of the industry, you go into any of these meetings, is these momagers, and I'm not trying to focus on women, but momagers, whoo, they be the worst. They be the worst. Like they want to be mommy manager, and they want to be mommy manager to whoever they bringing their child to, thinking they know better and know nothing about the business.
I'm like, ma'am, your son not a child. He's 25 years old. He grown.
Right.
Stop calling my son, my baby, my child. Oh God. Yeah.
So mama just can block blessings for their child. They thinking that they have their child's best interest, but it doesn't really work in the long. I can say in my professional time, there's only a few people I've seen that work with. Usher, his mother, you know, Janetta, she was my manager for a while actually, but their relationship sustained the test of time until he decided he wanted to transition to somebody else. But you know, there's very few times that, I mean, I guess Ashanti's mother, she was always there from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But it's not too many, you know? And even on the father side too, like, you know, it goes the same, you know, the same sentiments, but momagers, the industry hates that shit.
How about working with the female artist versus a male artist?
I tell you what, I had a group, and I
hope they're not on the chat. I've been watching.
I love all these ladies. Like this is almost, that was 2010 when I had them, so it's like 13 years ago. Now they all doing separate different things. But imagine having 3 females, right? They all need 3 different outfits, 3 different hairstyles,
Makeup,
personality,
mm,
you know. So you're just dealing with all of that. You know what I mean? I mean, 1 is enough, but dealing with 3, you know what I'm saying?
I
Huh?
hate working with artists, and I'm just being. I hate working with
But
female
you know,
artists.
a female artist is also, if they dope, if they right, they can take you out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, male.
And a lot of my
yeah,
female artists,
It's
a
worth
lot of rooms that male
headache.
artists gonna get me in.
Yeah, and
yeah.
more females buy records.
No, that's true, but it's like for that for that boom, that burst, once that female artist make it, it's like you had to go through hell and high water to even get her to that level.
Yeah,
My personal experience, I had a girl artist, Anna. I moved them from North Carolina. I put them in an artist house. I don't know what I was trying to be, Diddy or something at the time. And exactly what he did. I 3 different personalities, 3 different styles, wardrobe, hair, makeup, then the boys, all the industry. Like it's just mm, yeah, it was much. But surprisingly, I just told myself this the other day. I have 6 to 7 artists on my, and I don't have, not because I didn't want to. I'm realizing I've been handpicking males because it's easier. But I am, I'm like, I don't have male component or I had a female artist, but I had a Latin artist, but that out of all the artists I had, that one came with the headaches, with the deceit, because there's going to be men to come over you. Women run money. I the way for money. And that's generally what happens. There's always going to be somebody creeping in, trying to sleep with them
get in.
or offer something. Yes. I just personally don't care to. I mean, I love female artists. Don't get me wrong. I love to work with them. I can coach them. I'd rather work as an advisor than to promise you that I'm going to, be your manager and walk you through the doors. Nah, I'd rather coach you on how to build yourself up as an artist.
And then at the end of the day, this is a male-dominated industry, and you ladies take, y'all take a lot. It doesn't even matter if you're a manager or artist. You're going to be put through a lot just because of the nature of the business. And, a lot of times when you're managing a female artist, you have to be with them almost all the time because some guy is going to get in their ear or they're going to be attracted to some guy that thinks can take it to the next level. And it's just, you got to keep the wolves away, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have that presence and you got to be on your square. Now, if you're a female managing a female, woo, that's double time. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it can be done. Of course, there's a lot of success stories, but you have to know what you're getting into. Like if you get in this business thinking it's all, it's fair, it's based off of talent, and no matter how smart I am, I know the business. Some of that shit don't matter when you walk in the door and you got a wolf in there. You don't care.
The artists are not understanding that their managers, their momagers, their inner circle is like they talented though. Like it doesn't matter, and I'm trying to get them to understand that no one, the people I don't, they know you're, but they don't care about talent. Is that thing on. We got stats, numbers, marketing. It's so much more to consider talent.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we get into the end. I just want to thank you guys for hopping on this live with me and sharing what you know. Let these people know where you can find us. You can find me at Econtii, at Econtii Music Group. That's ECONTII, or EMG_ I am a creative.
Real easy at Reality7. Reality, the number 7 is probably on the screen already, I'm sure. Get at me. Questions, business. It's work.
Same. Erica the plug. ERIC the plug. which y'all already see on Instagram. Not really active on Facebook and all that other stuff. 87 Records is the label's Instagram. You can find me if you need to get at me.
Yeah, Uncut Music is the brand. I mentioned that earlier. Gotta keep that brand. UNCUTMUZIK.
Now, y'all can catch me on all my social media at Dame Dizzle on everything, and the HardHeaded Group and Moon Music Waves, both our management companies out here, and DJIceberg.com, the media platform.
Thanks, Miss Kim. Everybody out and out responding. I appreciate y'all tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. You all is the reason why we do this, so you know. Appreciate you. Thank you, Econtii, for holding the platform.
Yeah.